Well, it's been a quiet week here in Lake Scabagon, my hometown. This week, after Kevin created a fake episode to confuse everybody, they look back at college pranks and get into mustache care. If you have ever pulled a harmless prank, call us at 985-28-SQUID. That is 985-287-7843.
I do have something we should talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should talk about mustache care.
Ooh, what we got?
So I think this is worthwhile to discuss. So everybody here has a form of a mustache, right? So we're in
one
the
form or another.
we're in this game. So
Integrated, yeah.
in the winter, I like to let the beard grow untrimmed, but the mustache is the question, right? Like, what do you do with that? Because I haven't done anything to it recently, but it's at that perfect length where it gets in your drink or your soup,
Yeah.
Yep.
and you can't get it out of the way because it's not quite long enough.
Yeah.
And so you either have to choose to trim it back or stay committed and be a little gross until it gets long enough to be magnificent, because the payoff is exceptional. And you
Oh,
can,
yeah.
Magnificent.
and you can swoosh it to the side out of the way.
Or shoof it to the side. if
Shoof
it
it. Shoof it.
Oof. There it is.
works.
So what do you guys do with your mustache there when it gets to that length where you sip your nishoof with time ticking away in it, and it just hangs there on the edge?
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for joining this part of the podcast called "I Mustache You," a question about mustache care. I have nothing for you, but I just wanted to introduce the segment. All right, all right. I'll give you. I trim. If it starts to get a little much, I do a little like so it's in the old kiss region. You know, you don't want to.
There's that too.
That's what I'm saying. For me, it's more the if I go to kiss my significant other and she goes, "Ooh," I know it's too long. So that's what I do, and then we just do a little. I do a little trim and maybe a little beard oil just to make it nice and soft again. And
But you're not tempted to just like eventually get to the place
well, I do it.
of this gigantic mustache that's full.
So because I have a nice full
I'm
beard.
sure our
goatee,
listeners can see all this very well that we're doing with our
this is
faces.
Right.
gonna be a wonderful low light like this. It's just gonna be me just right. So what I would love to do the Raleigh fingers, the little loop-de-loops like Brock I'm sure can soon, but it's all about just keeping it nice and maintained.
And don't underestimate this when it gets long enough, when you can just sit there
Oh, it's
Yep.
it's
and be
glorious.
that guy. Yeah.
Just brush your mustache to each side.
Just
Divide it up the
sweep it
filtrum.
away, yes.
Yeah.
Above the lip and out of the food zone.
That's
I gotta
the
say,
other-
I've never had the patience to grow out beyond, what I've got now. And I do the same thing that Pete does. I pretty fastidiously trim. I'm trying to remember how often, maybe like once a month, something like that.
Yep.
I get to the point where like whatever's growing underneath, when you start growing a mustache, it's all the same length. And so like you've just kind of got it's thin all over, what have you. But now I've at the top of the stash that have grown all the way down to the lip level, and I've had to cut the lower ones many more times than the ones on top. So I've been, the emoji for the rainbow, how it's just kind of a nice, like all the different colors just kind of swoop over from left to bottom or something like that.
Correct.
That's what my mustache hair is doing. I've worked
Wow.
for a while now just to allow that to be the case. And so, yeah, for me, occasionally I get the stray hair that's just like, I don't want to point downwards. I want to go any which way. And that one either gets a talking to or it gets plucked.
Does the firm talking to usually get the job done for most? Other than
Honestly,
the most stubborn
usually
follicles?
it either needs to be plucked or trimmed because it just doesn't want to play nice. Yeah. I've never taken the time to apply a product.
For the listeners at home,
Really?
could you take us through the stern talking to that goes on with your mustache?
Well, so you get a pair of tweezers, and you take the hair and you just kind of pull it in the direction that you want it to go. And if it doesn't seem like it's going to stay there, and it keeps on popping up and outwards towards freedom, you just say, fine, if it's freedom you want, it's freedom you shall have, and you release it.
It smells like freedom. That's right.
Yeah, I kind of like I'll trim it most times of the year, but like once it gets to this time of year, then I just kind of let it go. And usually by the end of winter, it's almost at that point where, you kind of brush it to the side or whatever. Sometimes, it does just drive you nuts enough when, your coffee is or whatever you're eating, ends up in your mustache, and then I'll trim it at that point too. But
See, I'm asking because it's right at that
yeah,
do or die stage. I either need to trim it back because it's like the hairs are below the lip level. They're in the food and they occasionally poke the bottom lip, which can be annoying. But then there's no option for greatness with just this Monopoly Man mustache, which I have done before, but you have to like stick with it when it's really
Right.
annoying for a long time. And I'm considering that option again.
Well, onward, Pickle Soldier. Good luck with everything you're about to endeavor, and I hope you have a good, stern talking to with each and every follicle on your lip.
I appreciate the advice. All right, that's been Mustache Talk.
I saw an article the other day that was talking about the Harvard MIT pigeon prank.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you guys are familiar with
That's
that.
right. Refresh us.
For those listening at home,
Yep.
hey Google, what is the no?
Oh, definitely finish that out.
Right? Hey Google, what is the Harvard? What was it again? You can do the Hey Google because I want somebody else's
Sure.
voice on there.
Just make it up.
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey Google, what was the Harvard, Yale, and DeVry University of Phoenix hooked on phonics work for me prank of 1983?
Of the pigeon fighting ring.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey Google, call 1-800-ABCDEFG. Thank you.
Hey, Google called. What is her number? I cannot ever remember it.
985-28 squid.
Hey, Google, call 985-28 squids and leave a message. Thank you.
There you go. That's how you do it.
Hey Google, rate this podcast 5 stars.
Hey, Google, just make this podcast content so we can goof off.
Hey Google, we're already doing that.
Hey, Google, edit this for Kevin.
Ooh, I like that idea.
AI is supposed
Oh,
to
wait,
be the
I have
future. so-
no, wait, I have Apple products. Hey Siri.
Send me the files. I got you.
Yeah. So basically, what the prank was there was an MIT student who spent an entire summer going over to the Harvard football field, wearing a black and white striped shirt, and he had a whistle with him, and he would just wander onto the field, blow his whistle, and start throwing birdseed and start feeding the pigeons. So he would just kind of pace back and forth across the field and kind of kept doing this like all summer. And then at the end of the summer, came time for Harvard's football team to have their first game. Referee comes on the field, blows the whistle, and pigeons just come flying in and just swarm the field.
That's amazing.
Which is amazing.
We're going to need a judgment, Brock. Is that a harmless prank or a harmful prank? Is that Pickle Home Companion approved?
I mean, you got to ask yourself what these pigeons are probably going to defecate somewhere. So there's going to be a lot of cleanup involved with all these birds showing up. I don't know. Did they hurt the guy? Is it psychological harm? Is he going to be afraid of pigeons for the rest of his life? There's a lot of potential implications here. My thought is that I wouldn't call it harmless, but I also wouldn't call it malicious. It's probably somewhere in between. It's the uncanny valley of harm.
Right.
Is that ranch? Is that ranch? Is that the Temu version of Hidden Valley? Or
and the game was only
Yikes.
delayed by a half hour. So
right.
So
So it
wasn't,
wasn't
like-
disastrous.
right.
But what about the feelings of the pigeons who were lured under false pretenses
Well,
and they
right.
didn't
And
receive
what
what
did
they
they-
expected? Do we care
Right.
about their and their mental health.
What happened in that half hour?
Disappointment.
Yes, I mean, like, presumably the pigeons would keep coming back, right? Because they were habituated. They were,
I would assume, yeah.
yeah. So if this keeps on happening, I'm thinking there's some foul play associated with the birds. That somebody
FOWL?
had a, yes, somebody had a pea shooter. Somebody was doing something. Somebody's mouse trapping all these pigeons.
How'd they stop it? Because the
Exactly.
officials kept blowing
That's what
their
I'm thinking.
whistles. So
Right.
Right.
yeah,
Right.
like
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they gave a stern talking to the pigeons, a
Maybe
la
maybe they
a
talked to the
mustache
chief
hair.
pigeon and they said, "Call off your
Yeah.
boys."
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's very Pidgelovian, you know.
We'll provide a
Yes.
buffet elsewhere if you just take your horde to another location.
Right.
Come on, whistle, bell, Pavlovian, whistle, Pidgelovian. Come on, people.
It's all very. I appreciate that. I see what you've done.
Right on target.
I was trying so hard. I had to give myself a little pat on the back.
What kind of pranks did you guys encounter when you were in college? Like, did you have any like
Oh man.
crazy pranks that happened like that?
I feel like it's the only acceptable time to pull pranks, right? Like after college, it's really there are far fewer pranks you can pull and still be in good conscience.
Right.
Do we have an hour? I mean,
I have a
We do.
I have a
I have a
timeout
few.
story for you.
I have many time in stories and a couple timeouts.
I have some time in, but definitely one good timeout story.
You guys ever heard of DB Cooper?
Who is he?
Great prankster.
Timeout.
No, I always heard about like, was it maybe? I don't know if my dad did this or not. That you can take saran wrap and put it over the bowl of a toilet,
Mhm.
and then
We
you can
did that.
lower the lid, the seat, down over that, so that it's not apparent to the person using it. That's a thing you can do. And then what? Short sheeting.
Oh yeah.
That's like a super old-fashioned prank, right? Like that's the sort of thing
Yep.
that people were. The Hardy Boys got done
Yes.
to the Hardy Boys at summer camp, probably.
Good old Parent Trap situation.
Oh, Brock and your harmless pranks.
Yeah, no. At some point, we decided
Put a
like,
lizard on your
wouldn't
new
it be-
stepmother's canteen.
yeah, wouldn't it be hilarious if we did one of these old-fashioned pranks, like short sheeting the bed, and figure out like who even knows what that is and what it means, like who even sleeps under sheets.
I will tell you that our friends did short sheet our bed for a prank for when they got our apartment ready for after our wedding. So we went back to our apartment because we were leaving the next day for our honeymoon, and they definitely short sheeted our bed.
That's funny.
Yeah, and it is hilarious. It's really
Yeah.
funny. But like I don't know, like I feel like that's well suited to a dormitory environment or like some other place where people are all like hanging out together, but also a
Right.
place where people are using bed sheets, right?
Or to do it to my children who will be unsuspecting.
Yeah.
And it's harmless, so
Yeah.
it's funny.
Right.
But they don't have any frame. I mean, do you kids know what short sheeting a bed is or
No.
means?
They barely know how to make one.
They would just be like, "This is weird. What's up with this?" I guess
Hey
somehow
Google,
you have to,
take me
like-
to Amazon to order some short sheets.
This actually helped. I don't know if it was part of getting me and Tammy together, but it's in the lore of our
man.
relationship. I met Tammy through suite mates of hers that I had a class with one of them, and I worked on like a suite, like
Oh, I
SUIT.
thought that was-
You look confused, Pete.
I thought it was a dating website.
Sweetmates.com.
They didn't have those back then. This was too
same,
early.
Same here,
Yeah, too early to be an internet dater.
except for Christian Mingle. But yeah,
Farmers only. So I met her, I knew her friends and eventually knew Tammy, and we hung out together. It was a very cliche Christian college sort of thing where we were like friends for a year and spent all of our time together. But she would say she didn't like me. I didn't play that game. I liked her. And so, but like would routinely hang out on the weekends, like with our friend groups, right? Like the guys I hung out with, her friends. But there was this one weekend, like she and her friends were doing like a girls' night, and they were like, it's college, so they're very like, don't bother us tonight. We're doing our own thing. And we were like, fine. We're just in our apartment playing video games, watching old movies. Like we always, guys are like really low maintenance. You just tell
Right.
us to hang out. We're just in the apartment watching The Matrix again, you know? And so
Exactly.
this is Halloween time. It's October. So they had like, they're doing like carving pumpkins as like girls together in the townhouse. And so I guess they decide to like they needed to prank us because I guess we actually listened to them and we're not bothering them. And so here's some noise at the door and find like the guts of a pumpkin, like all the pumpkins had been like thrown on the door and smeared on it and on the doorstep. And we're like, well, this is you said to leave us you alone, and here we are, and you guys are doing this. So guess we have something to do tonight because we're going to retaliate because we know where you are. So we retaliate in the way that Christian college people do. We go to the Food Lion and we get water balloons, a lot of water balloons. And then my one buddy is like, we should mess up their cars. And the rest of us were like, seems too far. But he gets like cat food and flour and he's going to smear stuff all over cars. And we're like,
No.
his girlfriend's in the mix, right? Like, so that's who he's going to do this to. And we're like, like, we're just going to throw water balloons at him. We thought that'd be funny, you know? Like, so we get water balloons. My buddy, actually the guy who I mentioned, he's got a Nissan truck, and then my car. I have a Saturn, a 1991 Saturn SL1, the 4-door. It's gold. It's a stick shift.
Brave saint.
Yes, daylight up ahead. And I'm in this. So we go over there. Somebody knocks on the door and like runs, does one of those to get them to come outside. Because that was like, we got to get them to come outside. We're not going in their townhouse to like throw water balloons. We somehow have to lure them out of the apartment. So somebody knocks, runs, somebody opens the door. They're looking around. We're hiding somewhere. They eventually come out. They're on the porch. That's when we start throwing the water balloons. So they panic. The best thing is like they made it a full-on girls' night. They're in like pajama pants and the face masks. Like it's the full thing. Like they're in for the evening doing that sort of thing, watching a movie. Their faces are all covered in masks, pajama pants, and we're just going after it. So my one buddy though, who wants to smear stuff all over the car, he just picks up the carved pumpkin and like smashes it on the doorstep in front of them in this like raw moment. And they're appalled. And so they get mad and we speed off and we think it's funny. But as we're running, I mean, he had dumped flour on his girlfriend's car and smeared stuff all over it. And this girl, not Tammy, that I had asked on a date the next evening to the North Carolina State Fair because I'm a cool guy.
Yeah.
Put
My
something
man.
on her car. She's there too. Tammy's there, but also this other girl. So we're running away thinking we got it. We're hopping in the truck in my car. That girl just yells at me like, "You're cleaning my car before we go out tomorrow." I was like, "Ooh, I might have made a mistake." But Tammy picks up the chunk of the pumpkin with the stem on it as we're driving away and throws it at my car, hits the windshield and cracks it like from the top down about a good like 8-9 inches in like a
Wow.
curve because the
Wow.
stem nailed it there.
Yeah.
And
And that's how you know she's the one.
that's how I knew she was the one.
Wow.
She cracked the windshield and then broke into my heart at the same time. And I went out with the other girl the next night, and then the day I washed her car.
Hey, player's gonna play.
Went out with that other girl. Tammy was also at the state fair. There was a group of people. Me and this girl went separately. The other group shows up. We hang out, do the thing, and then the next day I'm like, I don't really like this girl. I like Tammy. So I went and told Tammy the next day after taking that girl out that I liked her and not the girl I went to the state fair with officially. But after she cracked, that was the moment when I was like, yep,
Wow.
this is the time to ask her out. She's broken my car and I'm powerless against her.
The only way I can possibly get her to pay me back is for us to romantically intertwine and eventually entangle our finances together too.
It's a long game, baby. Long game.
That's it. Yep.
This is one giant retaliation for my crack. 22 years later, it's about to come to its conclusion, guys. I'm going to let her in on the secret.
There we go. Good news. It's
Well,
part of the
Tammy,
podcast.
Please call in to 9528 Squid and let us know what you think of this long game. Operators are not standing by, but we'd love to talk about it in the new year.
There's children involved, a joint mortgage. It's so messy now.
This long game, man.
The aha
I don't.
moment's going to be quite surprising.
I feel like you haven't thought this through. Wow.
So I think that was harmless. That got a little bit surprisingly harmful.
I don't think you know what the word harmless means. Hey Google, define the word harmless?
Hey Google, what's a good harmless prank?
Anna, let us know what it says.
Yeah, please,
Yeah, there
Anna,
we go.
call in.
Please call in. Yep.
9528 squid. Thanks.
Hey
What was that
Google,
number?
you just called 985-28 squids and tell us what a harmless
That's what.
prank
Okay,
is.
We'd love to hear from you, Google.
You can
We'll
make
do-
Google call now, can't you?
I assume.
I
Okay.
don't have that turned on my phone, so thankfully it's not happening now. But I'm sure you can.
There was a few pranks when I was in college. One of them being, you had the group shower situation in the college. So
Is this a
somebody,
timeout or in? What are we
No,
doing?
no, no.
no,
It's
we're
a-
still
it's
on
a-
time
it's a-
in.
It's
Okay,
a Christian
okay.
college. I think I know where you're going. Yep.
Yep. So somebody, put something down over the drain in the
Yep.
room, put a board across the door to the room, turned on all the showers, and let it fill up. Went to the pet store down the street, bought a whole bunch of fish, and put them in the showers. I was not involved in that one. And I supposedly know nothing about another time where the retaliation for that prank on our floor, it was second floor and third floor kind of would go back and forth, like just pranking each other nonstop. But I know nothing about the time that people came back, went into the bathrooms, and discovered there were lobsters in each of the toilets with the elastics cut off of the claws.
Yikes.
Oh my word. Um, Along that vein, I want to raise you this one.
It's an expensive prank.
Yeah, well, you get enough people together.
Wow.
No, you want expensive prank? Okay, so I was a resident director of a men's dorm.
Did you jump
Uh,
out of an airplane with a lot of ransom money? That's
Time out.
expensive.
Time out. I didn't mean to bring this up to Brock, but I am and BJ Cooper, his brother.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so his cousin. Yeah.
Stole even more money.
Boom,
Yeah,
roasted. Time
time
back in. So when I was an RD of the men's dorm, I thought I'd seen all the pranks. I pride myself in being one step ahead of most of the pranks that all the students did because I pulled most of them in college or knew about them happening. One weekend, our whole staff went away on our RD retreat or our residence life retreat. We were about 3-4 hours away, and I came back to a smell of wet. You know, the smell of just wet,
Mm.
old dormitory.
Has the nose of
Malort.
basement. Yeah.
Has a nose of Malort, exactly. But basement throughout the whole building, right? This was the dorm that my dad stayed in. This is the dorm that I stayed in, and then I was the RD of this building, right? So 50 years of greatness.
Hutchness.
You know it. Found out on the second floor what they had done was they put water and they put it's one of those like just long hallway dorms. There's no with the rooms on either side. You're going down this long hallway, 3 floors, well, 4 with the basement. On one of the floors, I believe it was the second, they put down shower curtains and they put down like plastic, thinking that would keep it contained. And they took and replaced the hose, the nozzle to the shower some way, and fandangled the hose or buckets of water or something, and they created a slip and slide down the whole hallway. And it was fun for them. Oh, was it fun? Because all the RAs were away. And the RD staff, they would come up and check on the building. RAs would be on duty, but this was during the day on a weekend. So RAs, Are they going to come and check? Maybe, maybe not. If they were good RAs, they would have just posted up there. But whatever. No judgment here.
No one
It
accused
was
them of
fun.
being good RAs.
It was fun for them. I'm sure. Great staff of people. Just they got stuff to do too. They have lives to, they have term papers and whatnot. They're just got to get them
Slip
done.
and slides to build.
So a slip and slide throughout the whole floor. All these people started getting invited up to do it. I mean, it was a whole thing. I wish I'd been there to see it if I were a student there, but I was the RD, and thankfully it was not me. I was away, but I had to deal with that whole thing later on. We found out who the instigators were, and I brought them into the office. And I had to do this whole stern talking to while also thinking it's hilarious, but just being an adult, like time out. Oh my goodness, I wish I thought of that. Time in, like that whole deal, but in my brain while I'm giving out punishment. So that was so I wish it were just fish, but it was a whole flooding of. I mean, it got into people's rooms.
Of course
was
it
wet
did. There
with
was no way they
rain.
were
Oh
going to
yeah.
seal that off.
It was right, exactly. They're like, no, we're just gonna put the plastic up. It won't do anything. Yeah, it was wet for days. So the only good part about it was they were already gonna replace. They didn't know this, but we were gonna replace the carpet anyway at the end of the year. But they just had to live with mold, like moldy, gross smelling second floor or whatever floor it was for their time that year.
Like
And,
living in a
Yikes.
Malort bottle.
like living in a Malort bottle.
So was this where they put down plastic, but like did they
They didn't tape
was
it
all
down.
the
They
water
didn't-
going somewhere else? Yeah.
Well, it was supposed to go out. Their thought was they'll open the door at the end of the hallway because it's a
Oh, I
fire
see.
escape,
Out into the right.
and the water will just go all out that way. It
Okay.
won't stop anywhere.
Right. So that
It's
was the
just gonna-
plan, but
The plan was,
Not bad thought process. That's not bad.
and
not watertight. Yeah.
they also you can't get a. Well, I mean you can, but in college college students can't get this a 100-yard or whatever. I mean, it's less than that, but 100 yards of plastic readily available.
Yeah. Unbroken plastic.
The-
Right.
If you go to
thank you.
Lowe's, they were amateurs. That's what this was the problem.
Yes, but we didn't have Lowe's near us, my friend. This was out in the middle of nowhere. This is a very rural Christian college. And they didn't tape it, where you can make it seamless by taping it. Didn't tape it.
Right. They did
You know,
not.
there wasn't that much thought in it. It was just woohoo, let's make a
No,
whole big
you don't
slip
say.
and slide. Yeah. So that was fun. But they knew I was a benevolent dictator, so we laughed about it, but then they did their time and they were good.
I bet it was fun.
It was, I'm sure it would have been fun. Oh my goodness. That would have been a good time. Back when I was a student, we used to do like the whole like shaving cream in a manila envelope. And
Oh,
you
sure.
slide-
Oh yeah.
and you slide it under the closed door of the door of the resident next to you, and then you stomp on it. So shaving cream would go everywhere. Yeah, we did that.
It's a good one. The first college I went to, the dorm I lived in was a one level dorm, 1 story, and it was like motel style, where it was exterior doors like all
Oh,
along,
wow.
and then you
Oh.
parked your car right in front of it, just like a motel.
Yeah.
And of
Mhm.
course, your door opens inward. So a common prank was take a rope or whatever and tie it to that whoever lived in there's bumper, and then tie it to their door handle because then they can't open their
Yep.
door. And like you crawl out the
Yep.
window. There was a window
Right.
that slid open. You could get out, but it was still a lot of fun to tie somebody's door shut so they could not get out. Always a good time.
The short sheet of the door. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
We had it where the doors were
Yeah, you tie all the
directly
doors
across from each
together.
other.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that too. Thankfully, we had a little bit of a conscience, so we didn't have it for long just because of fire. We didn't want anybody to be locked in there. But
We also at that same college, a harmless set of pranks turned a little harmful. Because it was one of those where this was a tiny little Bible college. And I think not just a Christian college, but like a theological college that offered pretty much exclusively degrees to prepare you for full-time ministry, except they had started offering elementary education, which was where I was because I wasn't really into the full-time ministry. So I was a little bit of the outsider, but fully like familiar. This was my world. And so like it's much more childish, I think the pranks are, right? Like there's a little more
Oh, right.
innocence to this.
Oh, yeah.
So the game for a little bit was like squirt guns. Like people just started carrying squirt guns to class. And like as
Yeah.
people would walk to and from, you'd start shooting people with a squirt gun, which started being like the guys, like our dorm versus that dorm. But then of course you have to get the girls involved because this is college and you're trying to get their attention. And we haven't moved far beyond middle school. So you're shooting the
These are
girls.
your tactics.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Which then like kind of elevated into water balloons. And then it was like you never knew.
Elevated it to pumpkins.
Oh, well, didn't get there. Didn't get there. But one of those where you never knew when you were like walking out of a class, you turned a quarter, you could get smashed in the face by a water
Right.
balloon. This is also
Yeah.
Florida, so like it's hot outside all the time.
Yeah.
And that was, maybe annoying, but relatively harmless. But two individuals in particular, like a guy and a girl, started to take it more and more seriously and personal, like between the two of them, and not just, hey, everybody's doing this kind of thing.
Hmm.
And they were trying to escalate it. Like, what do we do? And this girl had this really nice Toyota Tacoma pickup truck that was only a couple years old, which was a rarity at this college. Like, no one had any money. So, like, a relatively nice vehicle was like an oddity. It's like, wow, she's got a nice vehicle. She has like a nice truck that's almost new. And so we're in the dorm playing GoldenEye, of course, trying to figure out what are we going to do.
Of
And
course.
this guy's like, what do we do? And so I'm just like, well, the Piggly Wiggly down the street has that thing outside of like live crickets. What if you just bought live crickets and put them in the truck? Like, how funny would that be? So he does it. I'm like, oh, like that's a whole nother level. So,
He went right ahead.
oh, he bought, I think, 50 or 100 live crickets because it's like $4, like $3
Right.
something. They're dirt, not a lobster level cost involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Crickets are cheap.
Mhm.
And then no one locked their doors. Like we're on this tiny campus.
I was going to say, do people just open up the door? It's ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. No one locks
Okay.
their car doors, so that part's not a problem. So just opened her car, dump this box of crickets into her truck, and shut it. Unaware that like crickets eat upholstery and really anything. Like they love to, like they're going to cause a lot of damage. These are a pest. These are not.
Pestilence. Yeah.
We're thinking
Pestilence
it's
and
just.
plague.
I'm just like it'll be funny. Your truck will be chirping for months. That's hilarious. Not thinking, oh, it's going to also ruin the interior of her.
Oh, yeah. Right.
And that's when it stopped being funny. And the prank war ended. Like the water balloons, the squirt guns, it all just came to a screeching halt because she was
Nothing was fun
furious.
anymore.
And when like somebody's dad gets mad, then you're like, oh, we're kind of in
yeah.
trouble because now her dad is
Yeah.
very upset that her nice vehicle has a bunch of crickets and we could not get them out of there. We tried to help, but there's a lot of places for a cricket to hide in the truck.
So was she from Florida or was she from
Oh,
elsewhere?
she was from outside of Lake City in the middle of nowhere. She
Okay.
was as country
Yeah.
as country girl can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So very familiar with what is and isn't possible with crickets. Like it was
absolutely.
immediately evident that this was introduced.
Yeah. She was proudly a country girl,
Yeah.
which is why she drove a truck.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But that one took a turn. It was really funny for a minute, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To me, who was not really directly involved. I was just more of an instigator.
Yeah, did anybody else do anything with cars? Like for me, we took our college had a branded VW Bug, VW Beetle, and we took it, lifted it up, took the wheels off, and put it on. We two different instances put it on the steps of because it has one of those like plateaus steps of the chapel. So it's just sitting up there on the steps of the chapel. We did that one time. And then Homecoming rented this huge tent for I think it was our centennial celebration, I think it was centennial celebration. And we took that vehicle again and put it on blocks in the tent in the middle of this already created situation where, seated event that they rented this tent for. We did that overnight one time. Yeah. I guess the statute of limitations has gone on that. I think that was in my interview at Houghton that I said that. So don't worry about that. But that was one of them.
Brock, were you a prankster?
I wasn't much a prankster, but we were jackasses nonetheless. I think there was something to be said for we knew the game as safety, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, if this is something that happened in lots of places or not.
Yeah.
But the idea was that if you ripped an enormous amount of flatulence and then said safety after you'd done so, you were in the clear. No one
You were
could
good.
beat you up for it.
You were good.
But if you didn't say it, then it was full on. People could just like slug you in the arm. They could knock you over. They could do whatever they wanted to because you had soiled the air. And so, I just remember lots of games of safety in which like somebody would just walk up next to somebody, let out the flatulence, and then safety, and it happened in the most inopportune times. So there was that. And then there were also butt tag, where it was like regular tag, but with your butt. And so like you just just kind of nudge up next to somebody and derriere to derriere tag, and then yeah.
Oh, so this was first year introduction games that we would do with all the students as get to know you games. Got it.
Sure. Yeah.
The standard
It
youth
was-
group fare.
I guess that's it. Yeah.
That's what everyone was hoping
But,
to
like-
play in youth group.
To me, it's still really funny to imagine someone chasing someone else, trying to tag them, but also having to like move backwards or like
Right,
position
right.
themselves in such a way that their buttocks would make contact with someone else. And so that was butt tag and safety. Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
A
That
lot of that.
that same guy who drove the truck and I told the timeout story about, we started a thing in college. I don't know where it started, but I would just start like flicking him in the old pickle and boots.
Is that right?
Yeah. I just like,
Pickles.
give him a good, get him to bend over, like double over kind of thing, and the most unsuspecting. And he would try to reciprocate. And that was a long running joke in college, which like I have pictures in our wedding album of him doubled over because I got him while we were all in tuxes because I had definitely not outgrown it at that point. And he's the guy who met me in Vegas this summer. And we went to the punk rock museum together and hung out and all those things. Like he flew out there. It's my buddy. And he was in a hotel near where I was. So I was the first time we met up. When he got there, I was meeting up with him and I see him in the lobby and like I'm behind him and he doesn't know where I am. So I literally just like walk by and reach back with a strong downward flick of the wrist, catch him right in the pickle and boots. And his head whips around because he thought some random dude had just touched him in his no-no square. And I was like, nope. What's up, buddy? Hadn't seen you in forever. So this game is 20 plus years old. I have not outgrown it. It's not across all my friends, but it is.
Kevin Brock, come join me in the left here.
Yeah, left ear. What's going
We,
on?
That's
we
from
need
last
to
night.
we need to reassess our friendship with Cherry Freeze. I
Yeah,
think
right,
that
just knowing
just,
that that's what's possible.
he's back, guys. He's back.
That's
Okay.
reserved just for that one special
all right, right.
person, okay?
Oh,
Not everybody
that's
gets that
adorable.
treatment.
That's adorable. I'm so
Yeah.
glad.
But it's
I have
a
no desire
long
to be
stand.
special, right?
Pictures of birthday, all kinds of events through the years. Every time I see him, it's gonna happen. We all hung out, went to an NFL game. I got him at the NFL game while we're taking a picture.
on the jumbotron.
Oh yeah, I am not letting that go.
Literally.
Incredible.
Hey Kevin, are we going to the show in Worcester in April to see old Michael W. Whitaker Smith?
He only does worship songs now. He's not gonna sing what you want to
Yeah.
hear. Don't go.
He won't
Wait, when
sing
was it?
give me love, love me God.
He won't go west, young man. He won't tell you your picture perfect. Like
He
no.
make you
No.
go east.
No.
Okay.
You said
All right, never mind.
it's April?
Yeah, it came up on my Spotify for some reason.
Oh, depending on when it is, I might be heading to Pennsylvania.
It's not the same day as the Pennsylvania
Oh, okay.
show.
The
Which
Jody Hook show that everyone
Are
should
we
go
all-
to with us.
are we all
You
going?
should.
I'm
No.
I'm planning
I'm
if I
down.
can find an affordable ticket.
I am in Gatlinburg, Tennessee for a club
That's right.
volleyball tournament. So
I'm
I
sorry about that.
am being a dad who's devoted
I
to
see
his
where your
children.
priorities lie.
I know. It's shameful, really, but I confess before you and all the listener.
That the rumors are definitely true.
And all the listener. I love that.
Right.
I heard no S there.
I don't presume to believe there are multiples. I'm not cocky. We got our heads on straight around here. We stay humble.
That's right.
Uh,
I just thought about something. We were talking about pranks and we were talking about games. And I forget if we talked about the prank game of bros icing bros. Have we discussed this before?
I don't think
Oh
we have.
no, I don't think we have on the podcast.
Are you
No.
familiar with the concept of bros icing bros?
Like
I
Smirnoff
am.
Ice?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
based on the idea that
Yes.
Smirnoff Ice is gross. So if you disagree with that, you'll disagree with the entire game. But the goal of the game is to not drink a Smirnoff Ice while simultaneously getting your bro to drink a Smirnoff Ice. And there are two ways it can be done. Well, actually, I guess there's an infinite number of ways you can make your bro drink a Smirnoff Ice. You just have to you have to have it appear before him when he's not expecting it. So
Right.
there are so many ways it's been done. You know, it's been baked inside of a burrito or wrapped inside of a burrito. It's been, you know, packed into people's
Ravioli?
luggage. Yeah, exactly. A giant ravioli. There are so many ways it could be done. And you know, if this has happened and the guy's playing the game, then he has to dutifully drop to one knee and drink the
Yeah.
entire Smirnoff Ice. And so, yeah, that's the goal, is to get your bro to drink it, and also for you to not discover Smirnoff Ice. So you have to be very circumspect if you're playing the game about whether or not you might be, you know, you might have this chance encounter with the Smirnoff Ice. So the only way you can prevent this is to have a Smirnoff Ice on your own person. So if you are iced and you happen to have one on you, then you can block the ice, and the person who tried to ice you has to drink both of them. So that's the basic premise of the game Bros Icing Bros. And I've been playing with two different friend groups for like 15 years now or something.
Nice.
Really?
It's quite something, yeah.
So are you the one who put it in the burrito?
No, I've seen this. This is on
Okay.
video. This is a thing that somebody caught, and it's glorious. I've had a few, I think, pretty good ones of my own, but I've also been iced so many more times than all of my friends. The weekend that I can remember where I was iced the most was a friend had given us a ride to the airport. We were flying out of town to go to Boston for Christmas. We got back for New Year's and we partied hard. They had a big New Year's party at their house. So I had lent my stereo, and I was taking my stereo apart the next day in the morning, you know, after having several drinks the night prior. But in the morning, I wake up, I'm taking apart my stereo, and I find an ice on top of one of the speakers. And so I have to do it, right? I'm also using the bathroom at their house, and the toilet tank is running. You know, like when the float is like off or whatever, the toilet tank is
Yep.
just running, and I'm a helpful friend. I'm like, you know what? I can fix this for them. So I open the toilet tank, and in the toilet tank is a Smirnoff Ice. So I have to drink it.
That is nefarious.
That is
It really is.
wow.
Yeah.
And so
Oh
my
my
friend gives us a
gosh.
ride home. You know, we'd been gone for 2 weeks. We come straight home to a party, and I wake up in the morning. I'm iced twice. He drives us home. Now, before we left for our trip, I'd asked this friend for a ride to the airport, and so we were putting our things in his car, getting down. And I think I'm trying to remember, did he either had to use the restroom or he decided he was going to, like, you know, help us lock the door so we could get our stuff in. When he drops us off at my house, like, you know, 11 o'clock in the morning or something, I walk up the stairs, haven't been home in 2 weeks, and the first thing at the top of the stairs is a Smirnoff Ice. So I was iced 3 times on New Year's in, what, 2018? Pretty rough.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So how do you feel about Smirnoff Ice, though? Like outside of the game, like is it off-putting?
Yeah,
Are
I
you-
mean, it's gross. It's like too sweet.
Oh yeah.
I have
way
not
too
been
sweet.
beyond not to say that I've iced myself, but sometimes the only thing left in the house is an ice, and I'm like, well, that's what we've got.
Here we go. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the moral strain of being iced, I think it hurts in the soul to know that you were iced. Someone got you. Yeah, they got you good. And
It's the losing that tastes so bitter.
Yes.
right. That's the aftertaste that really stings.
Yeah, that one that lingers. It doesn't wash away
Yeah.
quickly. Yeah, because
Yeah.
as I say, I think Smirnoff Ice is not good, but because it's a childish alcoholic beverage, where it's like
Oh, sure.
I as an adult do not need to drink that ever. But it's not the
Not
worst
the worst thing in the world.
flavor you could drink. Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
and especially, I mean, you, from what I can tell from social media, are not against Jaeger.
No, I'm not.
See, surprising right there to me, because I would much rather down a whole Smirnoff Ice than drink shots of Jaeger.
Oh goodness. I'd much rather have Jaeger than Smirnoff.
Interesting, because I do
Yeah.
not enjoy. I can tolerate Jaeger, but no part of me enjoys the experience.
Okay. You don't like that proprietary blend of herbs and spices?
I do not. I had a friend in grad school who was a professor at Florida in the same like college I went to grad school who loved Jaeger to
Yeah.
the point that he had a Jaeger machine in his home. Like you see at a
Wow.
bar where
Like
you
a
can,
cold
Oh,
shot
wow.
machine?
yeah, that you can put 3 bottles upside down and like push the button to get a cold shot. That was on his
Incredible.
kitchen counter. He
Well,
was
there
also
you
a
go.
single man in his 40s who
Yep.
had a kegerator and a
That's how
Jaeger
that
machine
happens.
in his
Yep.
house. And we would watch away football games at his place because it was much nicer than all the rest of ours apartments who were like grad
Yep.
students or young professionals. But he would be
But he
like,
would make you take Jaeger shots.
that was the rule. Like, hey guys, yeah, the keg's over there. Drink whatever you want, but you got to start with the Jaeger. And whatever he like tells you, it's Jaeger time. And like, what are you gonna do? The guy who invited you into his home and is providing beer on tap over there?
Yeah, you're not going to spit in his
No,
face.
you're gonna drink the
Right.
Jaeger because he's being generous. But that was like, oh, I'm gonna have to drink Jaeger when I go
So,
over.
which would you prefer? One shot of Jaeger, standard shot size, or 12 ounces of Smirnoff Ice at once?
I'd probably still go Smirnoff.
Yeah.
I I think it's situational. If it's 11 a.m. in the morning and I don't want to have a beverage, give
Sure.
me that shot
Sure.
and just get it over with in small
Yeah, that's true.
doses. If it's 9 in the evening and it's a Friday night and I don't have any particular thing to do or be, I'll swallow the Smirnoff and be okay with it. Because I feel like I
There we
can
go.
move past it quicker. It'll disappear. It's in the
Right.
rear. That
Sure,
flavor's
sure.
in
Can
the
you
rear
move
view.
past the moral injury of having gotten got?
That would be harder. Just
Yeah.
the hurt of losing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What I appreciate about the band Bite Me Bambi is they
Mhm.
incorporate getting iced into most of their videos.
No way.
Yes. Yeah. So if
No
you go
way.
go and watch some of the Bite Me Bambi videos. They're a great
Okay.
band. Like if you
Yeah.
like ska,
Yeah. I do.
you'll probably dig them. But yeah, they incorporate it into like most of their videos. It's great.
That's fantastic. Okay. All right. I'm a new fan.
Holding on to some sort of prank from your youth too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we can mature in many ways, but everywhere there's got to be a place or two to retain like childishness from younger days. It has no like real good point to it other than it's
Mhm.
silly and fun, like getting
Mhm.
ice.
Is your soul dead, or do you still hit your friends in the nuts?
Exactly
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Hey,
Exactly. All right, guys.
Hey, did anybody listen to? I'm sorry, Brock. Just give me
No,
1 second.
it's
Did anybody
okay.
listen to the band October Light?
Oh yeah,
The
I was familiar
Croatian
with them
ska
actually.
band?
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
I'm aware of their existence. I don't know that I've listened to them yet.
I just want to say that Reese missed a perfect opportunity to tie into me being the lead singer of Five Iron
Oh,
Frenzy
sure.
when
Yeah,
he
yeah.
said when he goes Peter sings and then Joe said there's always a Peter. So I just want to let
Always.
everyone know that old Petey Hutchie is a great name for a ska band lead singer.
There you go.
you were not
That's
wrong.
right, Peter. You do it.
Thank you, Brock.
Is there anything that needs to be said about the Pickle and Boot Shop podcast before we just completely wrap up?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, any of the recent episode or anything? It is a lot of fun. I highly suggest
It
you
is.
You not watch, but become a patron at the
Yes.
highest level that is outrageously reasonable for you, and then cast it to your TV to watch it
Oh,
in
man. It's so big.
oversize is the most
It's-
important way to do it.
It's so great.
Yes.
Today I was like sitting right next to my television trying to read what was on Reese's screen in the reflection of his glasses.
I was watching like at some point like just there's things like just moving on the reflection of his glasses, just like
Yep.
what is okay, is it just the monitor like flickering that the camera's picking up, or
Yep.
like is he scrolling through stuff, or like what
Right.
is
You watching
going
a
on?
movie?
Yeah.
Now I got to check the reflection of you guys' glasses. I wasn't even paying attention. Look at here we are. One of these weeks we'll all wear glasses. I have a pair of black glasses. I just wear contacts normally. I can join the club.
I'd have to wear like sunglasses or something.
There you go.
Dollar store glasses. $1.25 tree.
There you go.
All right. So we do it?
We just did.
Absolutely.
There we go. Perfect podcast.
That's all we do.